He was David's archenemy. I secretly dated him for 3 years. He was notorious in our circle for being wild and unruly. But he was only devoted to me. His friends asked him why, and he laughed mockingly. Being with her is just to get back at her brother, to get revenge for my sister Isabella. So on her birthday, I'll dump her hard and make them the laughingstock of the family. So I didn't show up at that highly anticipated birthday party. Instead, I traveled to New York City for a strategic family arrangement. On my wedding day, he rushed there, dusty and disheveled, trying to crash the wedding, but was blocked at the door by security. He claimed he was the bride's boyfriend. But he searched through his phone and couldn't find a single piece of evidence that we had ever been together. All just to get back at your sister Isabella? Ethan exhaled smoke, his eyes dark and cold. After she was rejected, she felt humiliated and left the country heartbroken. She wouldn't even accept my confession. Wasn't that enough? His friend exclaimed, Ethan, are you crazy? How can you like your sister Isabella? We're not related by blood. Amidst the smoke, Ethan's expression blurred. Why can't I like her? But what did Sophia do wrong? It was her brother who rejected her. What does that have to do with her? You shouldn't take it out on her. Besides, you pursued her for 2 years. For these 3 years you've doted on her, loved her, you had such a good relationship. I thought you were going to propose on your birthday. There was a moment of silence. As his cigarette burned down to the end, Ethan extinguished it, scoffing. If I didn't make it look real, how could I make her fall for me? She has to fall into the abyss at her happiest moment to feel utterly devastated. To feel the same pain my sister Isabella felt. I bit down hard on my trembling lip, my eyes stinging with unshed tears. His friend frowned, with a hint of pity. Are you really going to do this? No regrets? Ethan picked up his drink, his voice cold. Absolutely no regrets. I lowered my gaze, and a petal drifted down, landing on the ground along with a single tear. No wonder he was never willing to make our relationship public for these 3 years. He already had someone else in his heart. What I thought was a mutual love was just his carefully planned deception. In that moment, I didn't even have the desire to go upstairs and confront him. Confrontation, arguments, entanglement. Making him feel my pain would be exactly what he wanted, wouldn't it? Turning around, I left the gift I had brought for him right there. When I got home, I ran into David, who had just returned from a business trip to New York City. Why are your eyes so red? He asked, concerned. I looked down and wiped them. It's windy outside. Sitting on the living room sofa, he said, I know you're going to New York City to pursue your PhD. So, why don't you consider the Ashtons in New York City again? Alexander is a good person. Approved by your own brother, you can rest assured. He had mentioned the strategic family arrangement to me a few times before. I had always refused. Because of Ethan. Because I wanted to fall in love freely. To marry someone I loved. But now, I didn't dare to think that way anymore. Perhaps knowing someone's background thoroughly offered more security. Even without love, at least there wouldn't be deception or hurt. I could have more time to continue my studies. And my parents would feel more secure. I had made up my mind. David, I agree to the strategic family arrangement. Really? David sounded excited. Then I'll let the Ashtons know right away. Back in my room, I packed up all the gifts Ethan had given me over the years. As I was about to throw them in the storage room, David knocked on the door. Next Friday, we're going to New York City. That day happened to be Ethan's birthday. The next day, I was at home sorting through the documents I needed to take with me. I was busy until the afternoon when Ethan called, asking if I wanted him to pick me up to go out. It was noisy on his end, with sounds of electronic announcements in the background. He was probably at the airport. Hearing my refusal, he seemed subtly relieved. Okay, then eat well at home, don't diet, got it? Such concern, acted so convincingly. Later, David's friend messaged me, asking me to pick him up. My car was being serviced, so I drove David's. Following the room number, I found the location and gently pushed the door open. I saw Ethan intimately hugging a girl, playing a game where they ripped paper with their mouths. His hands were on her waist, a playful smile spreading across his lips. Wild and unrestrained. The crowd around them cheered, "Kiss! Kiss!" Ethan took the paper away, frowning slightly. The girl leaned her face forward, and as the distance closed, just as their lips were about to touch, he turned his head slightly and met my eyes. Everyone's gaze shifted towards me. A flicker of panic crossed his eyes. I looked down. "Sorry, I think I've got the wrong room." I closed the door behind me and took a few steps before Ethan pulled me into an empty private room. In the dim light, he wrapped his arms around me, cupping my chin. "Are you jealous?" I shook my head. "It's not what you think, that's my sister Isabella. There's nothing between us. It was just a game. Be good, let your husband give you a kiss." He chuckled softly and leaned in. Just as his kiss was about to land, I dodged it. Breaking free from his hold, I looked away. "David is waiting for me." The door was pushed open by the girl first. She covered her mouth in surprise. "Ethan, you guys." It was Isabella, his sister by adoption, not blood. Ethan's gaze lingered on me for a few seconds before he walked to her side and explained, "I had too much to drink and came into the wrong room. I'm not familiar with this lady." Isabella smiled and linked her arm through his. "Everyone's waiting for you." I didn't say anything, nor did I look at Ethan. I just walked away. As I passed him, he instinctively reached out to grab my hand. But he stopped in midair, clenching his fist instead. In the car, David, who was a little drunk, became talkative. He talked about everything from my childhood to when I went to New York City to study for my master's 5 years ago. "I'm sorry, Sophia. I shouldn't have objected back then. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gone so far away and shut everyone out." At that time, David insisted I study business to help him manage his company later. I wasn't interested and continued with my research instead. In a place where I knew no one, in unfamiliar surroundings, Ethan appeared. He understood me, knew me, supported me. I wanted to take that step towards him. But then I remembered how he and David had become archenemies over a project. So I subtly rejected him. But he pursued me relentlessly for 2 years. Even when I gave him the cold shoulder, he always greeted me with a smile. "Sophia, you are worth this affection. And don't feel sorry for me. The one who falls in love first always has to put in more effort. This is all my willing choice." Later, he saved my life, which made me finally feel secure enough to hold his hand. At that time, he said, "For you, I'm not even afraid to die." Now he said, if I didn't make it look real, how could I make her fall for me? My chest tightened. In my distraction, the car hit a flower bed. Fortunately, it was our own flower bed, and no one was hurt. David hit his head and got a bruise. He said earnestly, "Before you leave, you really shouldn't drive." I lowered my head like a quail. "I'm sorry, David. I'll get it fixed for you." I drove the car to the dealership. Thinking of it as an apology, I considered buying him a new one. Just as I entered the lobby, I heard Isabella's voice. "It's okay, I can test drive in high heels too." She was sitting on a sofa. Ethan was kneeling beside her, holding her ankle, carefully untying the straps of her shoes. As if she were a precious treasure. His tone was filled with undeniable concern. "No, you can't. What if you twist or injure your ankle?" After taking off her high heels, he helped her put on flat shoes. "I brought these for you when we left." Isabella pouted slightly, but the smile on her lips couldn't be hidden. "Ethan, you're really my good brother." Ethan paused for a moment, his brow slightly furrowed. I smiled faintly to myself. He didn't want to be your good brother at all. "You're so good, your girlfriend must be very happy." Isabella supported herself on his shoulder to stand up. Ethan, however, remained kneeling, lost in thought. Then he took out his phone. The next second, my phone pinged. It was a message from him, "Baby, I have a race tomorrow. Come, I'll give you a surprise." When I arrived at the racetrack, the race was about to begin. Ethan arranged for me and Isabella to sit together. On the track, he was dressed in a black motorcycle suit, his figure tall and lean, muscles defined. He was the most dazzling presence there. Looking away, a pair of hands reached out to me. What a coincidence, meeting again. I'm Isabella, Ethan's sister Isabella. I looked down at her hands. The tattoo on her wrist looked incredibly familiar. Hello, Sophia. She smiled faintly, a hint of something meaningful in her expression. I had asked around about her in the past few days. She was the miller's adopted daughter, 2 years older than Ethan. It was normal for them to develop feelings for each other, having spent so much time together when their parents were busy. However, she had gone abroad after graduating high school and had only recently returned. That day, it was Ethan who had gone to pick her up. He had waited for the person he loved to return, and I was ready to start a new life. He's so hot! A scream pulled me back from my thoughts. After crossing the finish line, Ethan took off his helmet, placing his index and middle fingers on his lips, throwing a kiss into the air. Isabella chuckled. Childish. It was as if the kiss was sent to her from across the crowd. Holding up the trophy, he looked in my and Isabella's direction across the crowd, his lips curved up. I love this summer, just like I love her. The crowd erupted. But I was startled, looking down at the tattoo on Isabella's wrist. It was identical to Ethan's. I had accompanied him when he got it, the day after he became my boyfriend. At the time, he rubbed my hand, whining, "I'm so scared of pain, will you just stay by my side, please?" I pointed to the design he chose and asked, "What does it mean?" "Forever love." He put his arm around my waist, made me sit on his lap, pulled open his collar, and raised an eyebrow. "I'll get it tattooed on my collarbone, so every time you kiss me, you'll see it when you look down." "No, no." I blushed, quickly refusing. Ethan just smiled. "Then on my wrist, okay?" I looked closely at the pattern. It didn't look like English. He paused, his eyes drifting elsewhere. French. France. That was where Isabella had studied abroad. I opened my phone, found a picture from today's race, and uploaded the string of letters to an image recognition app. Liar. That string of French didn't mean forever love at all. It meant no one like you. I closed my eyes, my heart turning ice cold. Just then, Isabella spoke. He really kept his promise to win a trophy for me as a gift for coming home. Backstage, while they were chatting loudly, I quietly checked the base of the trophy. The 4 large characters exclusive to Isabella glared, piercing my eyes. So this grand declaration was prepared by Ethan for her. But under the guise of giving me a surprise. I smiled silently to myself and slowly withdrew from the lively scene. 3 more days, and I would be leaving. Ethan was busy trying to impress Isabella and hardly contacted me. I never reached out to him again either. David saw that I had finished packing and wanted me to have some fun before I left. So he dragged me and his friends to watch a meteor shower. The hotel terrace had a telescope, allowing us to see the path of the Milky Way. As soon as I stepped out, I saw Isabella and Ethan. He was loosely holding her from behind, and they were both looking at the stars through the telescope. David called out from behind me, "Sophia, come help David play a couple rounds of cards." As soon as he finished speaking, Ethan suddenly turned around. I didn't look at his expression and slowly walked down the steps. My heart was surprisingly calm. My phone kept vibrating. It was probably Ethan. I ignored it and continued playing cards. Everyone had watched me grow up and were especially kind to me, chatting occasionally. David came back after taking a call to replace me. An older brother casually asked, "Is Sophia really leaving?" David nodded. "You know, I'll actually miss her." As soon as he finished speaking, there was the sound of something shattering outside the door. When I walked out of the room, Ethan was standing by the door. Without a word, he grabbed my hand and pulled me downstairs, walking into the deep in the woods. When we were alone, he finally let go. "Leaving?" His voice was icy, his face terrifyingly grim. "Where are you going?" Not wanting to cause any trouble before I left, I replied vaguely, I applied for my PhD and will be continuing my studies in New York City. His clenched hand slowly relaxed, relief washing over him. I thought, never mind, that's good. I didn't pay attention to his volatile emotions and turned to leave. I need to go back to David. But he stopped me and led me forward. Passing through the woods, the view suddenly opened up. The clearing was filled with fairy lights, twinkling and forming my initials in the center. I was originally going to bring you here tomorrow, he said. Is it pretty? I quietly looked around. It was indeed romantically set up. But I knew this romance wasn't originally prepared for me. Ethan took out paper and pen from his bag. This is a time capsule. You can write down your hopes for the future, and we'll bury it underground. We'll dig it up in 3 or 5 years to see if your wishes came true. I took the paper and pen, thinking. Ethan had his back to me, writing carefully, stroke by stroke. By the time he turned around, I had already slipped the note into the capsule. So fast? His handsome, peach blossom eyes gazed at me affectionately. What did you write? You'll know when the time comes. He didn't ask further, wrapping his arms around my waist and saying softly, why didn't you ask what I wrote? What did you write? He kissed my lips, smiling faintly. About you, about us. I covered my mouth, feeling a little sickened. Ethan thought I was touched and asked, have you thought about our future? I shook my head. His face suddenly changed. You don't want to be with me forever? I squatted down to bury the time capsule with the shovel, saying casually, who knows what the future holds? We've been together for 3 years now. Our relationship is so stable. What's unclear? Ethan, don't act so well, you even deceive yourself. After burying the capsule, I stepped on the soil to pack it down. He suddenly put his arm around my shoulder and pointed to the sky. Look! The meteor shower is here. Looking up, meteors streaked across the sky, the stars twinkling. The night sky was vast and boundless. In the vast universe, how insignificant we were. I remembered a quote. When the sky is dark enough, the stars will shine brightly. After walking past Ethan, my own sky would brighten on its own. I curved my lips into a smile. Just then, Ethan took out his phone and pressed the shutter. That day, he posted an ambiguous social media post, the lens reverses, focusing on us in love. But there was no photo. I didn't expect Isabella to come find me. She stirred her coffee, and after a long pause, finally looked up. I know about your relationship with Ethan. I didn't say anything, knowing she would continue. The eye contact and body language between lovers, you can actually see it at a glance. She paused, then looked directly at me. But he never shows your face in his social media posts, and he doesn't want to make it public. Do you know why? I clenched my fingers under the table. She smiled sweetly. 5 years ago, I told him I might be afraid of how to love. He was angry and anxious, and finally chose to pursue you. He pursued you for 2 years, and he was about to give up. But he confessed to you again because that day I told him I had a boyfriend. He was deliberately acting out of spite towards me. I suddenly remembered that day. I was at the waterfront on New Year's Eve. There were too many people, and a stampede almost happened. It was Ethan who, disregarding the danger, went against the crowd and pulled me out of the heavy encirclement. That night, a drunk man with a knife tried to hack at my apartment door, scaring me to the point of almost breaking down. And Ethan happened to be downstairs from my place. He rushed up and chased the man away, injuring his shoulder in the process. When I was bandaging him, he endured the pain and still comforted me. It's okay, don't cry. In that moment, I heard my heart pounding faster. So I accepted his confession. It turned out he was using the suspension bridge effect to target me precisely and lure me into falling for him. He wasn't downstairs that day because he wanted to protect me. It was because he heard Isabella was with someone else and was upset. Pulling back that veil of illusion, the naked truth was laid bare before me. Even thug. I tried hard to suppress my emotions, my heart still ached, throbbing with pain. He was with you for 3 years just to force me to break up and compromise with him. Sophia, saying anything more will only make you look more pathetic. Isabella took a sip of coffee, a confident smile on her face. We're all smart people. You should know who is truly most important in Ethan's heart. Instead of waiting to be broken up with, you should withdraw gracefully and save face. My palms slowly tightened, and the pain spread through my body. It felt like something was pounding on my chest, tearing it apart, until it was broken into pieces. I forced myself to bear the stinging pain and pulled my lips into a smile. If you were so sure about Ethan, you wouldn't have come to find me. It seems the person you thought you owned is getting out of your control. After pushing him away bit by bit, you're now unwilling to accept that you're just an adopted daughter. Isabella, greedy people end up with nothing. Her hand trembled, spilling a lot of coffee. Are you okay? Ethan quickly walked to her side, not even looking at me, just bending down to check her hand. Isabella, did you get burned? I composed myself and stood up. Ethan suddenly grabbed my sleeve, as if instinctively trying to hold me back. Then, remembering our not familiar relationship, he quickly let go. Isabella gently comforted him. Why are you so anxious? I'm not a child anymore. Perhaps Ethan's concern gave her confidence. After I had walked a few steps, she suddenly called out to me. Sophia, let's chat next time. As Ethan glanced at me, she slowly gave me a provocative smile. Leaving the coffee shop, I turned into the restroom. My stomach was churning, feeling intensely nauseous. I dry heaved for a long time, only managing to squeeze out some involuntary tears. I leaned tightly against the door, trying to piece together my broken heart, bit by bit. When I came out, Ethan was air. He handed me the hot tea, his tone accusatory. Drinking iced coffee again? You'll only learn when your stomach hurts. After fastening my seatbelt for me, he pinched my cheek. What did you talk about? You look terrible. I looked at him deeply. If he loved Isabella, why did he bother me? He had woven a tender net, step by step, locking me in securely, making me drown in his sweet affection, waiting for the right moment to trap me and throw me into the deep sea. Then, like a victor, he would watch me struggle, watch me break. But what was my fault? It felt like tiny ants were gnawing at me. The irritation in my heart rolled like a snowball, getting bigger and bigger. Finally, the pent-up emotions erupted. I turned and fiercely grabbed Ethan's neck, wanting to strangle him. If he died, he wouldn't lie anymore. He didn't struggle, just looked at me with red-rimmed eyes, as if he'd rather die by my hand than see me unhappy. Until the veins on his forehead bulged. Until the scent of Isabella on him filled my nostrils. I suddenly came to my senses and let go of him. The next second, he held me tightly, his voice trembling. Are you feeling better now? What happened? He cupped my face, wiping away the tears that had somehow fallen. Don't cry. It hurts me to see you cry. I slowly stopped crying and looked away. Ethan, let's not make our relationship public. His expression froze, his face filled with panic. Why? Because I'm going to break up with you. Sophia, I love you. I want to introduce you to the whole world. He explained urgently. I'll definitely make it public on my birthday. Can you wait for me? Wait for that day when you'll make me and David the laughingstock of the family? I'm sorry for the grievances you've suffered all these years. Sophia, believe me. I love you. But the Ethan who loved me, how could he so cruelly trample on my sincerity? When I got home that night, I received a text message from Isabella. He loves you? You wouldn't believe that, would you? As long as I want, he can only be my man. It was accompanied by a photo of them lying on a bed together. The day before I left, Ethan repeatedly confirmed the lavish birthday gala arrangements with me. You don't know how happy I am. But I was going to disappoint him. I wouldn't be showing up tomorrow. He didn't notice my distraction, intertwining his fingers with mine one by one. Baby, I've thought about our future. I hadn't. He lowered his eyes. I started thinking about it 5 years ago when I first pursued you. So, this was indeed a premeditated act of revenge. You were so cold back then, no matter how I pursued you, you were unmoved. He spoke in a hoarse voice, as if reminiscing. So many people were pursuing you. Sometimes I was afraid you'd say yes to someone else and I wouldn't have a chance. Fortunately, you saw me. Thank you for choosing me. Sophia, I dream of marrying you. Ethan, you're getting too into character. Don't even lie to yourself. For dinner, he wanted to cook himself. I opened my phone to organize the recordings, photos, and other evidence from this period. He called me from the kitchen. Sophia, come have a taste. He held a ladle, a hopeful smile on his face. Before I could get up, his phone rang. When he came out, he had already taken off his apron, his voice urgent. My sister Isabella was in a car accident. I'm going to see her. As he was about to leave, he turned back and stroked my face. Can you eat alone? Yes. He leaned down and kissed my forehead, his eyes full of affection. Baby, you're so good today. I had to be good, didn't I? Otherwise, how could I get him to leave and erase my traces? After he left, I called a cleaning service and had them throw away everything of mine in the room. The cleaners were very thorough, not a single strand of hair was left behind. I felt a sense of relief. But Isabella sent me a text message, she just aped her hand a little, and he's so worried. Does he treat you like that? In the video, Ethan was carefully applying medicine to her hand. Afraid she was in pain, he even thoughtfully blew on it. I smiled. It wouldn't be long before the injury was completely healed. After returning from Ethan's place, I packed up all the gifts he had given me and sent them by express delivery to the location of his lavish birthday gala. He would receive them tomorrow. We were scheduled to leave on a private jet at midnight. When the clock struck 10, Ethan called, drunk. Sophia, I miss you so much. I handed my luggage to David. Take this for me first. I'll join you after I take care of something. What is it? Something not important, but something I need to do. Ethan was lying on the sofa. In the dim light, his eyelashes fluttered. As I approached, he hugged my waist, rubbing against me like a little dog, calling me baby, wife vaguely. He said a lot of things, brokenly, mostly about what surprise he had for tomorrow, how much he loved me, how he wanted to marry me. He was drunk, but still acting. I pulled my hand away, my heart completely unaffected. After he quieted down, I took his phone and unlocked it with his fingerprint. The moment I opened the photo gallery, I was stunned. Out of over 1,000 photos, half were of Isabella. Especially during the 2 years he was pursuing me, he was constantly showing up in front of me to make his presence known. But at the same time, he was going to Isabella, trying to please her. Taking her to see the maple leaves, watch the sunset, stroll along the romantic streets of France. He took many candid shots of her from behind. Even the gifts I thought he had carefully chosen for me were things Isabella didn't like and had casually given to me. I thought I would be angry, upset, or furious. But unexpectedly, I was very calm. I scrolled through the photos one by one, screen recording them. Then I found the only 3 photos of us together. The first one was taken when I agreed to be his girlfriend. We posed face to face, and he said he had finally gotten what he wanted. The second one was when he celebrated my birthday for the first time, and I was making a wish over the cake. It was almost midnight that day, and he was whistling downstairs from my place. I opened the window and looked down from the second floor, seeing him looking very sneaky. We ran out into the early summer midnight, and I made my first birthday wish. The third one was a candid shot he took during the meteor shower we watched last time, with me in his arms under the stars. He said the person beside him was the one he loved most. I deleted them without hesitation, even clearing the trash bin. When I opened his social media app, Isabella was pinned at the top. My chat window, however, was set to do not disturb. I expressionlessly deleted all the chat history. Now his phone was completely clean, without a single trace of my existence. I finally understood the benefit of a secret relationship. Even breaking up could happen without a sound. As I was about to lock the screen, on a whim, I opened his notes app. It was filled with dense entries, all recording Isabella's preferences. 3 years ago, He had written a line, "I'm not content just being your brother, Isabella. Why can't you look back at me? Since you're so heartless, I'll just be with someone else." There was no sweet willingness, no devoted pursuit. I was just a second choice. Just a part of their relationship. I took a photo and put his phone back beside him. As I got up to leave, Ethan grabbed my wrist. "Sophia, don't go." He was talking in his sleep. I pulled away from him. "Goodbye forever, Ethan." He mumbled, "Sophia, will you marry me?" I suddenly remembered going to New York City with Ethan during the 3rd year of our relationship, without telling David. At the waterfront, fireworks exploded brightly. He held me and confessed his love. "Sophia, I like you so much." I was so young then. I loved him so deeply then. I said, "Ethan, swear to me, swear you'll never deceive me, otherwise I will definitely leave you." He cupped my face in his hands. "I cherish you and dote on you. How could I possibly deceive you?" He was a really good actor. As I was about to leave, I took one last look at Ethan's place. After making sure I hadn't left anything of mine behind, I closed the door. Then, I deleted all his contact info. The moment I stepped onto the plane, it felt like all the emotions faded with the roar of the takeoff. Love, hate, they were just small episodes in life. It's really okay. Everyone makes mistakes in love, cries for no reason, breaks down unexpectedly. But that doesn't stop us from going to watch the sunset and feel the breeze. Ending a failed relationship is a necessary lesson in growing up. Everything will pass, just treat it as an enriching experience. I smiled, feeling a sense of release. Turning to David, I said, "Before the strategic family arrangement, I want to meet Alexander alone." Actually, my parents had suggested we meet a long time ago, but I was busy with my studies and had been entangled with Ethan for these years. So I hadn't thought about it. 5 years ago, when I came to New York City to study for my master's, I also subtly declined the Ashtons' offer to look after me. I wanted to learn to be independent on my own. The last time I saw Alexander was when I was 15. His family came back for a family gathering at the old homestead, and we played together for a summer. After that, we lost touch. David told me not to worry, that with Alexander's character, he would definitely not let me suffer any grievances after marriage. But since I agreed to the strategic family arrangement, I felt I should be honest about my past relationship. And also tell him that my heart had been rebuilt, and the wounds had healed. I had cleared Awa. Why the irrelevant people and would be loyal to the marriage. Of course, if he minded, it was okay. After all, nothing was set in stone yet. After listening, Alexander's brows twitched slightly, his gaze resting quietly on me, a smile playing on his lips. "We're 27 years old, it's normal to have been in relationships." Then he added, "Sophia, the Ashtons have no precedent for divorce. After marriage, if the husband cheats or is unfaithful, the wife can confiscate all his assets." Huh? He looked at me, his thin lips curving into a faint arc. "So once you agree to marry me, you can't go back on your word." My fingers curled inwards. I looked up and met his eyes. "What if, after marrying me, you meet a girl you really fall for?" Alexander's gentle voice carried an undeniable firmness. "Sophia, there is no such what if. From now until we grow old and die, I will only be devoted to you." My face felt a little warm. He smiled and stood up, extending his hand to me. "Then let's reintroduce ourselves, Sophia." Sophia's phone still couldn't be reached. Ethan was visibly annoyed, his brow furrowed tightly. He took a deep drag from his cigarette, then turned his head to look at the carefully prepared lavish birthday gala. He had commissioned an artist to draw a profile of Sophia, placed in the most prominent position. She would see it as soon as she arrived. Besides that, there were many other elements he had put thought into, creating a very ceremonial atmosphere. It was lively inside, but the person he wanted to see wasn't there. He had felt something was subtly off since he woke up. Every year on his birthday, Sophia would rush to send him the first message at midnight. Or she would sneak over to see him, even if just for a moment. Her eyes would curve into a smile. "It's my boyfriend's birthday, of course I have to be the first to send my wishes." But last night, Sophia hadn't stayed with him, and he hadn't received any message from her the next morning. He opened his phone to find her contact information, but was overwhelmed by a flood of birthday wishes. It completely disrupted his train of thought. Ethan reassured himself that maybe she was already on her way. Time ticked by, second by second. Sophia still didn't come. He grew increasingly anxious, tugging at his tie. Suddenly, there was a noise outside the door. He immediately walked out, wanting to take her hand. But it was Isabella. "Why is it you?" He couldn't hide his disappointment. Isabella's smile froze, then she asked, unwilling to give up, "Who were you expecting?" "Sophia." He only wanted Sophia. He had felt that Sophia had been a little strange recently. Usually, when they met, she would cling to him. They say physical affection is a natural sign of liking someone, always wanting to be close to your boyfriend. But ever since Isabella came back, she had changed. She became quiet, silent. She wouldn't initiate intimacy with him either. Sometimes, when Ethan looked at her, he felt as if there was a great distance between them. What was going on? He couldn't figure it out. But the one thing he was sure of was that he really wanted to make their relationship public. He remembered Sophia crying sadly in his arms. His heart ached. It turned out he didn't want her to be wronged at all. Many times in his nightmares, he dreamed of humiliating her at the birthday party. She would be lost and helpless, then break down crying, biting her lip and asking him why he would do this to her, what she had done wrong. His breathing quickened, wanting to explain. But she would look at him with a cold face. "Ethan, break up. You make me sick." Then he would wake up, covered in sweat. He was really going to propose today. He had even prepared the wedding dress. Hundreds of designers worked tirelessly for half a year to complete it. He laughed mockingly to himself. If he truly wanted to humiliate her, why would he unconsciously prepare prizes to make her happy? Last night, after taking Isabella to the hospital, he was going to leave. Sophia was still waiting for him at home. Isabella grabbed him. "You like Sophia?" He raised an eyebrow. Isabella stood up. "Trying to hide it from me? I can tell." He suddenly smiled. Oh, so she could tell he liked her. Then could David also tell? Then maybe he wouldn't oppose Sophia being with him? He said, "Yes, I love her." Isabella bit her lip. "Is that so?" Ethan smiled, then seemed to remember something and said, "Isabella, I'm sorry about the past. I didn't distinguish between liking you as family and liking you as a lover. Of course, I'm also grateful that you rejected me, because it led me to find the person I truly love." After that, he answered a friend's call and left. He didn't notice Isabella's resentful expression behind him. He wasn't playing games anymore. To hell with revenge. To hell with humiliation. He just wanted to be with Sophia. He wanted to propose, to marry her. She belonged only to him. Fortunately, it wasn't too late. Fortunately, Sophia didn't know about his past sordid plans and dark intentions. No one would ever mention it again. He looked for her profile picture, but found that all their chat history was gone. His unease intensified. Ethan panicked. He sent a message saying baby. Then he saw the large red exclamation mark. Sophia had deleted him, while I, who had deleted Ethan, was preparing for my wedding. Actually, with Alexander, it should have been an engagement first, then slowly building a relationship. But the two families took our compatibility charts to a fortune teller. They said we were a perfect match, destined for 3 lifetimes. They praised us to the skies, then suggested an auspicious date, telling us to get married as soon as possible. I felt rushed into it, trying on dozens of wedding dresses in one day. But strangely, every single one fit perfectly. I couldn't choose. Lexander smiled. "Then why don't we keep them all? Anyway, they were all custom made for you." Just then, the wedding planner was led in by a servant. The topic was sidetracked. After reviewing countless planning proposals, when I finally caught my breath, it was already afternoon. Alexander scooped me up from the sofa. Good girl, you can sleep later. Let's go get the marriage certificate first. So soon? He held my hand. The fortune teller chose the date. The marriage registration process in New York City is different from the mainland. Led by the attorney, we exchanged vows and rings. The ring Alexander had prepared was just right. After we signed the marriage certificate, his two friends signed as witnesses. The stamp landed firmly on the paper, and everyone began to applaud. My whole family and so many people from his side squeezed together for a big group photo. The sense of ceremony was overwhelming. It turned out a relationship blessed by everyone could bring such happiness. It turned out walking openly in the sunlight with your other half felt like this. That night, I posted a social media post, officially certified. Comments immediately flooded in, "Stop showing off, sis. What certification did you get now? Are you blind?" Wishing us a lifetime of happiness together. This is a marriage certificate. And it's from New York City. Sophia, you're moving so far away? Aw, I can't live anymore. Goddess, how did you get married? Who's the groom? I went to ask my mom. She said the news is currently under wraps, but our family already received the Miller's invitation. Wedding next month. The marriage certificate quickly spread within Ethan's circle. His friend opened the photo and joked, "I wondered why you disappeared for so long. Turns out you eloped to New York City with Sophia? Pretty romantic." Ethan's cigarette-holding hand trembled, and the glowing tip burned his finger, but he didn't feel the pain. "What did you say?" He snatched the phone, staring intensely at the screen. His knuckles turned white from the force. His friend suddenly understood. "Sophia isn't marrying you?" Before he finished speaking, Ethan had already left in a panic. Things were pretty chaotic on my end too. That evening, the Ashtons hosted a reception. Alexander held my hand and introduced me to relatives one by one. You know, as a child, the scariest thing was being taken by your parents and asked, "Do you know what to call them?" Feeling lost, I just stuck close to Alexander. Everyone in the Ashton family was very nice. When I greeted them, they would give me gifts. But there were too many people. Later, Alexander had to keep his arm around my waist, letting me lean on him, taking some of the strain off me, before I managed to greet everyone. Looking at the smiles on everyone's faces, I thought this was good too. Mutual respect. Isn't that what marriage is? After the passion fades, there's the gentle flow of everyday life. Both families approved, and Alexander wouldn't deceive me, betray me, or mistreat me. I could also continue my studies and research. Afterward, I leaned back on the sofa, my eyes barely staying open. Alexander even took out the details of the marriage settlement for me to look over. As I was reading, the small print blurred and warped before my eyes, and I accidentally fell asleep. So when Ethan called, it was Alexander who answered for me. Hearing a man's gentle voice on the other end, Ethan's mind went blank. He gripped the steering wheel tightly, his hand trembling. "Who are you? Where's Sophia? Put her on the phone." Alexander wasn't as gentle as he seemed on the surface. He was incredibly possessive. But to alleviate Sophia's concerns, fearing he might scare her or make her hesitate about the strategic family arrangement, he pretended their marriage was just a family arrangement. He had waited for many years. He didn't want to wait in why longer? So he wanted to get married immediately, leaving no opportunities for anyone else. He had never told Sophia that he had seen Ethan more than once. When he heard Sophia was coming to New York City to study for her master's that year, he slept only a few hours a night, finishing his work in New York before rushing back. But he was still a step too late. He went to her school with gifts. But he saw her walking with a man, laughing and talking. He clenched his fists tightly, and in the end, didn't say anything or go forward. Many times later, when he went to see her, that man was always there. And the look in her eyes when she looked at him was radiant. He had also flown to Northport, hiding in the shadows to observe her. They never broke up. They seemed very much in love. So Alexander smiled bitterly and left. He blessed Sophia in his heart. He just hadn't expected that useless man wouldn't hold on to her. Alexander was secretly pleased. Fate had brought the person he loved back to him after so many twists and turns. So he used the gentlest voice to say the words that would stab Ethan's heart the most. Sophia is asleep in my arms. Oh, let me introduce myself. I'm her legal husband. May I ask, who are you? I'm her boyfriend. Ethan blurted out. He hadn't agreed to break up, so Sophia was still his girlfriend. Alexander chuckled softly. I'm sorry, but to my knowledge, Sophia doesn't have a boyfriend. She only has one husband, me. Ethan felt like he was going crazy. On the day of the lavish birthday gala, he waited alone for the crowd to disperse, until he received the things Sophia had sent him. Several large boxes, filled with all the gifts he had given her. She didn't want them anymore. He called her number over and over, but couldn't get through. He waited until dawn. He sat on the ground, heartbroken, and finally understood. Sophia didn't want him anymore either. But why? He couldn't figure it out. As he was carrying the boxes home, a piece of paper fell out. It said, Ethan, we're breaking up. It wasn't a discussion, just an announcement. He stumbled back home, only realizing later that Sophia had completely cleared away all traces of her existence. How cruel she was. Such a gentle and lovely girl. Why did she act so decisively? He remembered something and opened his phone, going into the photo gallery. What met his eyes were photos of Isabella. He scrolled to the end and found that Sophia had deleted all their photos together. She had seen the photos of Isabella he had saved. She had seen the Notes app entries. So, she must have misunderstood his relationship with Isabella. Ethan remembered what Sophia had said before. If she ever found out he lied to her, she would disappear completely. It turned out she knew. She knew everything. So she proved her words with actions. She sentenced their relationship to death without giving him a chance to explain. Ethan desperately wanted to find Sophia, but he searched all over Northport and no one knew where she had gone. He whistled a few times downstairs from her house, as he used to. No one responded. He waited until dawn, but that light hadn't turned on for a very, very long time. He also went to New York City, but found no clues. More than a month passed, and he had found nothing. He suddenly remembered the time capsule they had buried on the mountain. He didn't care about the heavy rain and dug through the mud with his bare hands. The capsule was covered in dirt. He opened his, which read, May we have no regrets about the past and grow old together with deep affection. Ethan loves Sophia, morning and night. Sophia's capsule, however, was blank. She had never thought about their future. Ethan could barely believe his eyes. He clutched the paper tightly, tears streaming down his face. Without Sophia, his days were a blur. When he heard about her marriage, it felt like a knife was plunged into his heart. The pain was so intense he could barely stand, especially after hearing that another man had answered her phone. His heart plummeted from a great height, shattering into a million pieces. He couldn't believe Sophia was really married. She must be angry with him, right? So he immediately booked a flight to New York City. New York City isn't that big, it's easy to run into someone. But New York City isn't small either, if someone is determined to avoid you. He couldn't even find a single strand of Sophia's hair. Ethan couldn't find me. Alexander was afraid I would get tired, so he didn't let me leave the Ashtons' estate. He had also deleted the record of that phone call, so I didn't know about it. During the wedding preparations, Alexander handled everything. Half a month passed, and there were 3 days until the wedding. The Ashtons brought all my good friends to New York City on a private jet. Alexander was busy taking care of everything, making sure everyone was comfortable. In the evening, I asked him to go back first. I wanted to have some private time with my friends. He said okay and then instructed staff to bring food and drinks. Everyone received different little gifts, but he specifically gave me a beautifully packaged food container. On my phone, there was a message from him, drink some hot herbal soup, be careful not to get a stomach ache. He always did things thoughtfully and just right, never making people feel uncomfortable. My friends kept saying good things about him. Knowing the groom is Alexander, we're relieved. Just during the flight, we already did a full background check for you. He's a good person, comes from a good family, is young and capable, and most importantly, he's pure. Their family principle is that devoted husbands thrive. Our Sophia will definitely be happy. Honestly, I'm quite looking forward to your arranged marriage turning into love. You're wrong, sis. I think Alexander looks at Sophia differently. And keeping the wedding so secret might mean it's been a long time coming. We chatted and laughed until late at night. When I left my friend's room, I saw a message from Alexander. He said he had been downstairs the whole time and to call him when I was done, and he would take me home. Just as I replied I'm done, I was grabbed by a pair of hands at the stairwell. It was Ethan. I hadn't expected to run into him here. As if seeing a plague, I quickly shook off his hand and ran towards the door. But he grabbed me, his grip so strong I couldn't break free. He pinned me against the door, squeezing my arm tightly, complex emotions swirling in his eyes. Finally, he grabbed my chin and kissed me without hesitation. I hit him with the food container. Are you insane? My back was against the cold wall. Ethan's gaze fell on the wedding ring on my ring finger. He bit his lip tightly, his voice hoarse. Sophia, are you just trying to get back at me? Trying to provoke me with a fake marriage certificate to punish me for not making our relationship public? He had the audacity. I sneered. I'm really married. He closed his eyes, as if trying hard to control his emotions. I don't believe it. I can explain my relationship with Isabella. It's not what you think. I've already made it clear to her, we'll only be like siblings from now on. Come back to Northport, Sophia. We'll make it public, okay? Oh, he thought I left just because of Isabella, because I was jealous. I smiled quietly, my eyes full of sarcasm. When you loved her, you bothered me, and after being with me, you weren't willing to let go of her. In the end, you'll be like her, ending up with nothing. His eyes were filled with despair, trembling. I love you, I only love you. Sophia, I haven't said we're breaking up. So you're still my girlfriend. I curved my lips. You wanted a breakup, didn't you? Fine. I'll tell you myself. Ethan, you make me sick. We're breaking up. Is that enough? Dreams and reality overlapped. Ethan's eyes instantly turned red, his face pale. No breakup. We've been together for 3 years, you liked me so much, how could you bear to break up with me? I couldn't be bothered to argue with him and took a step. Believe what you want. I'm married. Ethan held me tightly from behind, sobbing and pleading. Take the ring off, okay? I'll buy you a new one. I've prepared a wedding dress for you. We can get married back home too, okay? I turned around and slapped him. Don't touch me. He stood there blankly, his eyes red-rimmed, almost in tears. I couldn't help it. Sophia, I missed you so much. These past 2 months, I haven't been able to eat or sleep well. When I close my eyes, I see you. What am I going to do without you? Just as he reached out to hug me again, the hallway door suddenly opened. A gust of wind swept through, and Alexander punched him in the face. After recovering, Ethan tried to fight back, but he was no match for Alexander. This was the first time I had seen such a forceful Alexander, completely overturning the gentle image I had of him. Ethan was beaten, blood on his lips, looking pathetic. As he got up to throw a punch, I stepped in front of Alexander. Stop it, Ethan. His fist stopped about 5 centimeters from me. I quickly turned to check on Alexander. Does it hurt? He nodded, looking wronged. A little. Maybe some internal injury. Then let's hurry home and find a doctor. Ethan looked at me in disbelief, his eyes bloodshot. You're protecting him? Clearly, I'm the one who's most hurt. Sophia, aren't you going to care about me? I scoffed. He's my husband. Of course, I have to protect him. Who are you to me? Alexander took the food container from my hand, naturally taking my hand as well, and asked softly, Are you done eating? I nodded. He parted his thin lips. Then let's go home. Okay. He added, my whole body hurts. I pulled him and we walked out. Let's go back quickly. After opening the door, I didn't look at Ethan again. He stood there, looking lost and heartbroken. The dim light hid all his expressions. He mumbled to himself, his voice so low it was barely audible, "You used to care about me the most." 2 days before the wedding, Alexander and I rehearsed the ceremony. In the evening, my friends left. We took a walk by the riverside. He went to get me a hot drink. As soon as he left, I turned around and saw Ethan again. He had band-aids on his forehead and the corner of his mouth, looking dejected and disheveled. It seemed Alexander had indeed hit him hard. He walked up to me and spoke with difficulty. "Sophia, I've thought about it. Divorce him." "Will you divorce him?" "I don't mind. I won't hold it against you. I'll pretend this never happened. Forget everything about New York City. Let's start over." It felt like I had heard the biggest joke. "Unless I die, I will never divorce him." He seemed not to hear me, his tone becoming cautious. "There's really nothing between me and Isabella. Why can't you just believe me?" "Sophia, we've known each other for 5 years. How long have you known Alexander?" 2 months? Is 2 months enough for you to entrust your life to him? Why would you choose him over me?" I cut him off. "Because he won't lie to me. We were honest with each other, clearing everything up. There was no deception, no scheming, no complicated relationships involving an adopted sister. Only the approval and blessings of our families. Even if we didn't have a deep connection right now, so what? Life is long. Who can say what the future holds? Ethan, I told you before, if I found out you lied, I would leave without hesitation. Stop bothering me. I'm not coming back." He stared at me blankly, his eyes full of despair. Seeing Alexander walking quickly towards me, I ran to him first. He gently tucked my hair behind my ear, his arm around me, and led me towards the car. Out of the corner of my eye, Ethan's bangs covered his eyes, which were slightly red-rimmed. The day before the wedding, Alexander didn't let me go out again. We looked through his childhood photo gallery in the study. I pointed to one photo, very surprised. "I was so small and I already had a picture with you?" He was behind me, forming a protective embrace. "Yes, your mom was pregnant with you that year, and my mom brought the whole family to visit. I must have been 3 years old. You were born right after we arrived." The adults took a photo, and they set up a childhood engagement. That early? I couldn't help but laugh. I was just a baby. Alexander smiled and flipped to the next page. "I also came back when I was 6, before I started elementary school. You were very small then, like a little white ball, pulling me and calling me brother. In the photo, I was leaning in to kiss his cheek, captured at that moment. Looking at that photo, I felt my face flush. When I was 12, you were obsessed with acting and made me dress up as the emperor, and you were the princess." I couldn't help but laugh. "First a brother, then a father, Alexander, you had many roles." He continued flipping through the album, joking. "I came back once when I was 18. You were 15 then, and you weren't pulling me to act anymore, you wanted me to take you to play video games. So, I became your buddy." I was a little embarrassed. I was so obsessed with games back then. My parents restricted me, and David wouldn't take me, so I had to find you. That summer, I spent a month with Alexander at an internet cafe. After that, we never saw each other again. I was busy with high school and college, and he was busy with his studies and managing the family business. I thought the river of time would leave us stranded on opposite banks, but I never expected fate would bind us together again one day. And make us family. How wonderful. I suddenly remembered what Ethan said last night, asking why Alexander and I dared to entrust our lives to each other after knowing each other for 2 months. But that wasn't true. We had known each other for 27 years, longer than he had known me. I turned my head. Alexander's breath fell right by my ear, and a hint of filled the air. I swallowed and quickly turned my head back. Alexander suddenly said, "Sophia, thank you." "Thank you for what?" His eyes were gentle. Thank you for marrying me. On the wedding day, my palms were sweating from nervousness. Alexander held my hand the entire time, guiding me through every step of the ceremony. Under the guidance of the officiant, we kissed and embraced, making our eternal vows. After the main ceremony, I was so tired I could barely stand. He carried me to a small room to rest, saying softly, "Sleep for a while." I grabbed his hand. "Where are you going?" He squeezed my fingers. "I'll continue to greet the guests and clear obstacles." I said okay and leaned against the sofa, falling asleep quickly. Meanwhile, the obstacle was outside the grand estate, attempting to crash the wedding. Ethan was blocked at the entrance, desperately pleading with the security to let him in, claiming he was the bride's boyfriend. Reporters around him asked, "Ex-boyfriend? Then I advise you to give up, young man. The Ashtons are a prominent family in New York City. How can you compare to him? Stop dreaming, it's embarrassing." Ethan urgently explained, "Not an ex-boyfriend, we never broke up." But he searched through his phone and couldn't find a single piece of evidence that he had ever been with Sophia. The crowd burst into laughter. "Buddy, do you have delusions of grandeur? You don't even count as an ex. You're hilarious." Ethan swayed, almost falling to his knees. But then he saw Alexander walking towards him, beaming. "Let me in!" Ethan shouted, attracting everyone's attention. Boo! Alexander ignored him and instructed the staff to distribute wedding favors to the guests. Those who received the wedding favors offered blessings for the newlyweds, wishing them a lifetime of happiness together. Everyone got one. Except for Ethan. His teeth were almost grinding to dust. "Alexander, you're taking advantage of the situation." Alexander merely glanced at him dismissively. "You didn't cherish her yourself, so you'll never have a chance." My and Alexander's wedding was trending online for 3 whole days. But nothing happened on our wedding night. Because I was truly too tired. Alexander told me about Ethan's visit. I thought about it. Since the wedding was over, it was time to deal with him. I was an academic vlogger with 2 million followers online. When Ethan was pursuing me back then, I had documented it. But after we got together, because he didn't want to make it public, I hadn't shared it. My followers knew that a man had pursued me for a long time, but they didn't know who he was. So I posted wedding photos on my account. My followers were shocked. They never expected me, an academic vlogger, to be the girl on trending online. Immediately, I posted screenshots of Ethan's and Isabella's chat history, their ambiguous photos, and provocative voice messages. To avoid invading privacy, I blurred out details and wrote a caption, "Not familiar with a certain person, please respect boundaries." Local media came flocking. Although I didn't explicitly say the person was Ethan, all the details pointed to him. Especially since he tried to crash the wedding on the day itself but couldn't produce any evidence. The tabloids published several explosive headlines: "Obsessed stalker kneels, Miller heir attempts to steal married woman, begging for love." "Delusional boyfriend, century's biggest simp, Ethan blows up Alexander Ashton's wedding." The comments section was filled with condemnation. "OMG, that stalker is Ethan? Am I seeing G things? Pursued her for 5 years, then tried to crash her wedding? Is he out of his mind? He's like a clown, so disgusting. Having an inappropriate relationship with his adopted sister and still trying to pursue someone else? The vlogger must have done something terrible in a past life to be liked by him. Don't just curse the guy, Isabella isn't innocent either. Seducing her brother, I'd have a heart attack if I were Ethan's mom. Exactly. And the main thing is, when she saw her brother had a girl he liked, she sent provocative messages? That's truly sickening. I wondered what the Millers' parents would do knowing their adopted daughter and their son had such an inappropriate relationship. Ethan wanted to make me and David a laughingstock, didn't he? Now, he and Isabella had become the laughingstock. The embarrassment was all theirs. The public opinion continued to escalate, and the Millers couldn't suppress it no matter what they did. I asked Alexander, "Was it you?" He nodded, his voice calm. "Yes." I couldn't help but laugh. "You're so devious." He raised an eyebrow, a smile playing on his lips. He deserved it. David only found out about this afterward. He said to me exasperatedly, "Why didn't you tell me? I would have killed him." As time passed, I told him everything. He was silent for a moment. I thought he was going to scold me. But instead, he frowned and asked, "Isabella confessed to me? He got revenge on me for her? But, who is Isabella?" I suddenly laughed. David looked bewildered. David was so handsome back then, had too many people confessing to me. Who can remember them all? Ethan hates me? Do I even know him? Turns out, Ethan and Isabella wanted to get revenge on David, but David didn't even remember who they were. It was ridiculous and laughable. But then he reacted. That scoundrel, he actually dared to bully my sister. He won't have an easy time in Northport from now on. He immediately made several calls. "From now on, don't accept any collaborations with the Millers. We'll steal all their projects, whatever it takes." Let him truly see what it means to be an archenemy. Oh boy. Ethan had really backfired spectacularly this time. Before the semester started, I took Alexander back to Northport and arranged to meet my friends for a get-together. Midway through, I went to the terrace for some air and unexpectedly saw Ethan again. During this time, I heard that the Millers weren't doing well. Their stock prices were dropping continuously, the Millers were in a panic, and they even terminated Isabella's adoption and issued a statement saying they would not allow their former adopted daughter to marry into the family. Isabella had tried everything, but in the end, her efforts were in vain. The projects Ethan was responsible for were also rejected by many companies due to the negative public opinion. I also heard that he got jumped and beaten up. The day he got beaten up, David whistled and called me 800 times, just laughing without saying anything. Now, seeing Ethan's haggard and pale face, I could only say he served him right. But he walked towards me, his eyes red-rimmed. "I didn't know Isabella would provoke you. I'm sorry. I disappointed you during that time, I'm sorry. But Sophia, nothing ever happened between me and her. Is that truly unforgivable?" I glanced at him. "Ethan, when you loved her, you bothered me, and after being with me, you weren't willing to let her go. In the end, you'll be like her, ending up with nothing." His lips trembled. He pointed to his heart. "Now I only love you steadfastly." I said calmly, "If Isabella came back to you, would you go back to her?" He shook his head painfully. "Never. I never will." I curved my lips. "Then I'm the same as you. If you come looking for me, I won't go back. I think you should understand how I feel now, right? You don't want to continue a wrong relationship, so I can't show O's to go back to you either." Tears slowly streamed down his face. "But I did genuinely love you during those 5 years I pursued you. Why did you have to take revenge and ruin my reputation?" I looked at him, my gaze cold. "Because I overheard your conversation with someone else. From the moment you started pursuing me, it was a deception. Can a liar have genuine feelings? And you wanted to humiliate me at my birthday party. I just repaid him in kind. Why can't you handle it?" He was shocked, stammering for a long time, then laughed bitterly. "So this is what it feels like to be played and revenged by the person you love." He looked up again, a hint of hope in his eyes. "You wanted to humiliate me so much. Does that mean you still care about me? Sophia, do I still have a chance?" I held up the ring on my finger. "The whole world knows I'm married. I'm not going to divorce him." Later, Ethan searched through every trash can. He was looking for the gift I had thrown away that day, the one meant for him. And he actually found it. It was a preserved floral arrangement I had made myself. Now it was tattered and ruined. I took it from him and threw it into the rushing river water. Then I walked past him, towards Alexander. Flowers bloom towards the sun, people walk forward. Time circles back again and again. I was going to face the next sunny day with the man in front of me.